So what's going on guys, Kate here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the best Berserker build in Torchlight Infinite 2023. So in this guide I will show you what abilities and core skills you want to get. Then I will explain what are the best talents, hero traits and armor to use for endgame content. And then lastly I will show you the best gameplay and even which stats you need to prioritize, so you would be able to get the best results and highest damage possible and much more. And then just before we start, I want to quickly clarify that this video is sponsored by XD Games, aka the developers of this game. So Torchlight Infinite has got a major update called Black Sail Season 2, and with this update you will be able to play the new hero called Erika. Then Commander Moro and Berserker, both of them have got new hero traits. Then already existing storyline now takes place in the Endless Sea of Void. And then on top of all of this, there is a new system called Hero Relics and much more. So no matter if you're new or returning player, click my link in the description and download Torchlight Infinite for free. And with that said, thanks to XD Games for sponsoring this video. So then moving over to the first part of the build where I will explain the Berserker gameplay and what you can expect from this build. So the Berserker as a class is your typical melee bruiser that deals insane amount of damage, but by using the Seething Silhuti hero trait and changing up my original build that I posted few months ago, now this new build will do super high damage, while at the same time being very tanky and almost impossible to eliminate. So in the background you can just watch some of my gameplay and you can see that I can easily clear endgame content while taking 0 damage from the enemies. And if I even take any damage whatsoever, then my HP goes right back to full in a second or two. So if you don't care about reaching the highest DPS possible, but if you want a good build with high damage and high tankiness, so you can have a more relaxing gameplay and just bruise through all the Torchlight Infinite content with having 0 chance to die, then this is the build for you. So then with all of this said, now let's move over to the build, and for our main 5 skills we want to use the Flame Slash, Hammer of the Ash, Bull's Rage, Fearless Warcry and Bloodthirst. So then for the first ability we have the Flame Slash, and we want to slot in the Elemental Fashion, Raging Slash, Steamroll, Hardened and Slash Duet. Then the second skill is called the Hammer of the Ash, and we slot in the Mark, Element, Termination, added fire damage and added erosion damage. Then the third skill is called the Bull's Rage, and we slot in the Dead Will, Extended Duration and Mania. Then the next skill is the Fearless Warcry, and we slot in the Powerful Warcry, Extended Duration and Concentration Warcry. And then lastly for the last main ability we have the Bloodthirst, and we slot in the Mania, Soul Focus, Pain Amplification and Extended Duration. And then lastly for the extra 3 we have the Precise Acuteness, and we want to select the Precise Seal Conversion, Precise Swiftness, Precise Magical Source, and Precise Rejuvenation. Then for the second one we have the Precise Elemental Resistance, and we select the Selfishness, Stand as One and Restrain. And then for the third one we have the Summon Thunder Spirit, and we want to select the Restrain and Precise Charge Flames. And if you were wondering, then this is how I allocate my energy. So then let's move over to the next part, which is our gear setup. And for the helmet we want to go with the Tide of the Stick and aim to get as high armor, critical strike rating and as high damage as possible. Then for the chest armor we want to pick the Fleeting Sky and get the 10% to max life and max energy shield. Then for the next one we have the Shooting Star, and we want to get as high strength, max life and minus 3.7% damage taken. Then for the fourth armor we have the Old King's Rebreases, and we want to get high armor, life regeneration and any type of resistance that we can. Then for the next one we have the Infinity Belt, and we want to get max life, Warcry instant cast, and extra percentage to life regeneration. Then for the next one we have the Lone Walker's Boots, and we want to get all of these movement bonuses and plus 100% aura effect. Then for one of the last ones we have 2 same types of graceful rings, and we want to get high max life, life regeneration and any type of resistance. And then lastly for both 4 weapons we want to get the Scarlet Axe and try to get as high DPS, added physical damage and as high attack speed as possible. Overall, as you can see, this is an endgame build, and if you just started playing this game recently, then don't worry about this and just equip all the gear that you can find. But then starting from level 30 or 40, only equip gear that is better either way in armor, damage and max life. And then when you slowly get to endgame and level plus 50, then you can start using these type of gear pieces. You don't have to use exactly my exact same gear, but as long as you're using similar items and trying to get similar stats, then you should be good to go. So now let's move over to the next part of the build, which is the talent tree. So we want to select the God of Might, Blood Striker and Warlock. And then for God of Might, this is how your talent tree should look like till 12. And then this is how it should look like till 18. And then lastly for our core talents, we want to select the Burnout. And then for the second one, go with the Fueling. So then moving over to the second category, which is the Blood Striker. And this is how it should look like till 12. And then this is how it should look like till 24. Then for the first core talent, we want to select Arcane. And then for the second one, get the Survival Will. And then moving over to the last talent tree, which is the Warlock. And this is how it should look like till 12. And then this is how it should look like till 24. Then for the first core talent, we want to select the Merciless. And then for the second one, we want to go with the Dirty Tricks. So in a quick summary, these three talent categories are by far the best ones, which will make our build very tanky and do super high damage. I tested every single setup and talent, and after hours of tests, this was the best setup for the Berserker character. So if then at any point I went too fast, then you're just feel free to pause the video at any time and copy these exact talent nodes. And then with all of this said, now we have come to the last and final build part, which is our hero trait, hero relics and the pact. And this is how our hero trait should look like at level 80. So after level 32, you want to select the second option, then at level 62, select the first option. And then lastly at level 80, get the second option. Then for the relics, you want to get the Heart of Ethereal Realm. And then under all levels, equip the Return to the Thunder to the Sky. And then last but not the least, this is how our pack tree should look like from the bottom and then from the top, as this mechanic is more in depth, so I will soon make a dedicated video on this topic. But for now, just try to allocate as many pact points as you can. So then moving over to the last part, which is the Berserker gameplay. So I will just quickly give you a short explanation of each skill and what is the best rotation to use. So then for the first skill, we have the Flame Slash, which will sweep and slash at your enemies. While attacking, you will get a steep strike that can stack up to 8 times. And then on top of all of this, 50% of your damage will be converted to fire damage. So overall, this is an amazing damage skill. Then for the second ability, we have the Hammer of the Ash, which is a bit different attack spell that this time will pummel the ground ahead and generate auto-tracing fire projectiles, which will do damage, and then when you consume Demolish Charge, you will do even more damage. Then for the next one, we have the Bull's Rage, and when we activate it, it will give us a melee skill damage and radius buff, so we want to use it on bosses and stronger enemies. Then for the next one, we have the Fearless Warcry, which when activating, it will let out a taunt that will aggro all nearby enemies and give you additional damage to the steep strike. Then for one of the last ones, we have the Bloodthirst, that is another amazing buff, which will give you increased attack and movement speed. And then lastly, we have our special class skill, aka the hero trait called the Seething Stilhuti, which will give us 8 rage when we are using melee attack skills and plus 1% attack speed for every 5 rage. Then when we reach the max, we can enter the Berserk mode, which will give us plus 30% movement speed and 2 times as much the previous attack speed bonus. But because of our setup, we won't be using this particular hero trait that often, if we compare it to the other Berserker builds. So then lastly, let's move over to the rotation, and this build is pretty simple and straightforward. So then at the beginning of the fight, you want to start by running around the dungeon and pulling as many mobs as possible by using the Fearless Warcry. Then when you are ready to do damage, then now use the Flame Slash, and this powerful but simple combination with Fearless Warcry and Flame Slash will eliminate weak enemies very fast. But then if you run into stronger enemies that take longer than a second or two to eliminate, then now you want to use the Bull's Rage and then the Bloodthirst. And then again keep on using the Flame Slash, and then lastly only on bosses use the Hammer of the Ash for extra damage. So let me explain. By using the Fearless Warcry, we will give ourselves a small buff and most importantly, aggro all nearby enemies. So then we use the Flame Slash, which is our main damage dealer. And this combination already will eliminate most of the monsters. But like I said, if it takes longer than a second or two to eliminate a monster, then now you want to activate the Bull's Rage and Bloodthirst, which will give us a massive damage buffs. And then from here, we just keep on using the Flame Slash for more damage. And then mostly on bosses, if you want the highest damage possible, then you want to keep using the Flame Slash, but this time with the Hammer of the Ash as well. So this build is very simple and easy to use. And like I mentioned, 90% of the time, you don't even have to move, and all enemies won't be able to eliminate you, just because of our high armor and life regeneration. But then at the same time, we still have very high DPS to clear any dungeon, and that's about it. So with that said, I really do appreciate everyone for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback or other good Torchlight Infinite builds or guides, that you would like to see in the next video, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. Like I said at the start of the video, thanks to XD Games for sponsoring this video. And don't forget to check out Torchlight Infinite Season 2 by clicking my link in the description. And then while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and you won't miss any more amazing content from me. With all this said, you have an amazing day and I will see you in my next video, so take it easy, peace.